Me back on. So, sorry about that, Facebook. They kicked me off. I've started back up, and we're still here on Periscope on Twitter. So, as I was saying, they decided to evacuate members of Congress from the chamber, and that was happening on the first floor. And all of a sudden, and then they tried to evacuate us. There were some members who were on the second floor. That's usually where visitors sit. But again, because of social distancing, there were members on the second floor, which is also kind of where the media sits in the chamber. They were trying to evacuate us. And then the next thing we were told was we had to shelter in place. We were told to crouch down. We could hear banging on the doors. Remember, the doors were locked. We could hear banging on the doors. The next thing that happened was there are kind of rooms adjacent to the chamber. They're called cloak rooms. It's a private room where members can go. There was a door leading to the cloakroom I think it's a door leading to the cloakroom, because unlike the Senate, there isn't, on the House side, I don't think there's a door that leads directly outside, but I could be wrong. But there was a door leading to the chamber that protesters were trying to breach that would have allowed them inside the chamber. There were police with guns drawn. There was some type of wooden furniture, like a desk, that was used to barricade that door. And if you've been watching the cable news channels, you've probably seen that image of officers with their guns drawn and that wooden furniture used as a last barrier to barricade inside that door. And that's what happened. We were told to crouch down, to take cover. At that point, there were only about 50 people left inside the chamber. That includes members of Congress and members of the media, and police. Again, there were about 50 of us that were barricaded inside the chamber when that security breach was happening. Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware began to pray loudly. It was a powerful moment as she began to pray for her colleagues, pray for peace. Most of these were Democrats on the Democratic side. Well, it was the Republican side, but most of the members that I saw were Democrats. And so, we were told to just kind of shelter in place. After several minutes, the Capitol Police did clear the way, and we did exit the chamber after several minutes. As we exited the chamber, we could see where protesters had come up by the chamber, and the police had them laying face down on the floor. And again, if you go on my Twitter, I did post that picture of some of those protesters. Literally, we pretty much had to walk kind of a few feet away from them because they were face down on the ground, subdued by the police. That was the last action I've been able to see in person. Again, I've seen the images on TV. I have loved ones who are asking me my phone and everything. I have not seen outside. Members of Congress are currently in a secure location. Media was not allowed to follow them to that secure location. A lot of us are in right now a cafeteria. That's where I'm at, with a lot of members of the media and a lot of staff members as well. I won't say which part of the Capitol complex, but right now we are okay. Now we're hearing that things are getting chaotic. Sorry guys, trying to hold two phones. We hear that things are getting chaotic outside. I don't want to confirm any of these reports. As I was saying, I don't know a lot what's going on outside. I know that there's a lot of concern, but I don't have those answers. I would make sure you go to reputable news sources, people. Your CNN, your MSNBC, even Fox News has been trying to be responsible lately, and so I give them credit. Your local TV affiliates, your newspapers, folks like me, because there's already a lot of misinformation. If you have questions, please post them now. Sorry guys, I didn't know Twitter had defaulted to the other way. If you have questions, please post them now. I see a lot of people talking about in the comments, this protest, this breach was not Antifa. Let me be clear. This breach, this protest was not Black Lives Matter. Let me be clear. This breach and this protest were supporters of President Donald Trump who have been encouraged by Trump supporters to lobby in favor of rejecting the Electoral College votes from contested states that were won by Joe Biden. I want to be very clear about this. I'm not choosing sides. I'm not saying who's right and wrong, but we need to speak truth in this moment. This protest was done by Trump supporters. It was not Black Lives Matter. It was not, and I'm not saying Antifa and Black Lives Matter has not counter-protested. I'm not saying that. But the breach and the protests initially are Trump supporters. And that's one of the things that has come up, is that people have said President Trump, maybe he didn't encourage it, but he did not do anything to discourage what has happened today. And that's why you see some Democrats that are angry at the Republican side. So someone just said, do you think this is an effort to delay counting Electoral College votes? Honestly, I think that this was an effort to try to bully more Republicans into supporting the objections. I don't know if the intended consequence is what happened, which is both chambers are in recess. We don't know how or if they will pick this back up. It has to be done, but it doesn't have to be done at the U.S. Capitol. I don't think. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it does, but it doesn't have to be done in the way that they were doing it, which was allowing as many members as possible to be on the floor, so it will have to be done. I don't know if they're going to try again later today. The city of D.C. is on a curfew as of 6 p.m., which means anyone caught on the streets of D.C. after 6 p.m. will be subject to arrest. So I don't know if they're going to try after then to resume when they can legally, arrest anyone who tries. Right now, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people. Again, these are mostly Trump supporters, far-right activists who are surrounded the Capitol. We are at the Capitol complex, but the Capitol building itself has been surrounded. But from what we can understand, the breaches have been kind of quelled, and there are no longer people inside the Capitol, as far as I know. We have been told, someone did talk about the National Guard. The National Guard was dispatched earlier today. We were told they were unarmed National Guard. I don't know if there is more. I know people are asking me about a shooting. I can't speak to it. I can't. Watch your news. Reputable news. Watch reputable news. I don't know anything about a shooting. I will say we did hear one loud pop when we were sheltering in place in the chamber, but we did not know if that pop was tear gas or a gunshot. We were given gas masks. I don't know if you all can hear the whirring behind me. Let me show it to you. I'm going to show it to Twitter first, and then I'll be back to you, Facebook, because I only have two hands. But that sound you hear is my gas mask that we were given, and this is what it looks like. And you hear that whirring sound is the gas mask. So we were given gas masks because when the rotunda was breached, the rotunda is where the visitors first breached the Capitol. The rotunda is that iconic kind of center of the Capitol where all the statues are. That's where that dome is that we all know so well. That's where we first heard that the protesters had breached, and tear gas was used on the protesters in the rotunda. And that's when we were told to don gas masks in case there was more tear gas used. So again, when we heard the loud pop a little bit later, we don't know if that was tear gas or if that was something else. Any more questions, guys? I don't believe in belaboring the point, and I don't believe in repeating myself. I will say, just again on a personal note, my name is Tia Mitchell. I'm the AJC's Washington correspondent. For those of you who are worried about me personally, I'm okay. I've said my prayers, and quite frankly, this is what the job requires of me today. And so it's okay that's what I'm doing, my job. It is not easy. I'm shaken up. I had to take a minute to get my bearings, but I'm okay. And that's what we're here to do. Yes, my name is Tia Mitchell, for those who are asking, AJC Washington correspondent. Again, we are, where I am, I'm safe right now. I know some of you are asking, what can we do at this point? The first thing I would say is pray for peace. If you're a praying person, if you believe in a higher power or whatever you believe in, you can want peace in our country, because I don't think anyone wants to see bloodshed or violence. The other thing is, again, this process of counting electoral college votes will have to be done eventually. The question is, will it continue to be something where people supportive of President Trump continue to question the outcome? Let's take Georgia, for example. 5 of the Republican members of Georgia's delegation, Representative Heiss, Representative Clyde, Representative Green, Representative Allen, and Representative Loudermilk, in addition to U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler, said that they would vote to object to Georgia's electoral college votes for Joe Biden being counted. The Democrats, the 5 Democrats in the delegation, Representative Williams, Representative Johnson, Representative Bordeaux, Representative Scott, Representative Bishop, and Representative McBath, were all predicted to speak in favor of accepting the electoral college votes. They were going to be joined by at least one Republican Austin Scott, who's the longest serving Republican in the Georgia House, is on the record saying, even if he disagrees with some of the things that happen, Georgia voters have spoken, and he believes those electoral college votes should be counted. There are a few members that I wasn't sure where they would land. That includes Representative Carter, Representative Ferguson, and I'm missing one. If somebody's keeping count and remembers my delegation members, I'm missing one of the Republicans. Carter, Ferguson. Anyways, no, I think that's all of them, actually. That's everybody. So the 2 that I wasn't sure about are Carter and Ferguson. Everyone, the democratic process, here's how it should work. And there's nothing wrong with letting your elected officials know what you think and how you feel. It's about how we do it. We're supposed to be a democracy where we elect people to represent us in Congress, in Washington, at your school board, at your county commission. And so it's nothing wrong with writing an email, making a phone call, writing a letter, adding them on social media, and telling them what you think they should do. Again, if you think that they should contest the electoral college tally, you can let them know. If you think that they should move forward and accept these electoral college votes, you can let them know. But we can do all of that, either side, without violence. And I think that's what we're seeing here today, is that there was violence, again, by Trump supporters, and there's concern that those elected officials who agree with President Trump didn't do enough in advance to quell that violence, to quash the violence. I did see Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a big Trump supporter. When things did get violent at the Capitol, she posted on social media that violence is not the way. She's one of those people who's been accused of, I did name Hank Johnson, he's with the Democrats, who wants to accept Joe Biden's win. Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of those who's a big supporter of Donald Trump, does not believe that Joe Biden won Georgia, does want to contest the election, has participated in protests. But today, when the protests got hairy, even she spoke up and said, this is not the way, people. So again, there's nothing wrong with letting your elected officials know what you think. That's how our democracy should work. If there are any other questions, I'm going to scroll quickly to see if there are any other questions. And then what I'll probably do, guys, is log off for a little bit and come back a little bit later tonight. Please continue to follow the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. We are AJC.com. We are at AJC on all social media, or AJC News on Instagram, but we're at AJC on Facebook and Twitter. Loeffler is on site. She, again, was in the Senate chambers as they debated Arizona. As you all know, Loeffler did not win her Senate race, but she is still in office because she's an appointee until Reverend Warnock, until that election can be certified and until Warnock can be sworn in. Loeffler remains in office, and she was in the chamber. I saw her taking notes because she was planning to speak. Again, she was one of those who planned to object to Georgia's electoral college votes being counted. So Loeffler's here. David Perdue is no longer in office. His term ended Sunday. It looks like he will not win another term, but if he were to win, it still would take time for him to be sworn in and to be able to get back in Washington. So he is not here today, but he had said that he also supported objecting to Georgia's electoral college votes. Again, I'm talking about Georgia because I cover Georgia's delegation for the AJC, but you can go to your local newspaper or some of those national outlets, you know, your New York Timeses and Washington Posts and Wall Street Journals and USA Today. And again, your local papers, your local news stations to find out more about your local elected officials in other states. The National Guard has been called, but I think it takes time for them to activate. But from what I hear, the National Guard has been activated. I'm going to log off for a little bit. Feel free to continue to leave questions. Again, I'm on social media. I'm at Tia Reports on Facebook and Twitter, at TIAREPORTS on Facebook and Twitter. I will come back later, and we do have a first-person account that my colleague Tamar Hallerman helped me write. That is on AJC.com now, in case you missed any of the kind of recap on what's happened thus far. Continue to keep us in your thoughts and prayers, but we are safe for right now. We're just kind of on lockdown. I didn't plan it very well, haven't eaten anything today, and so luckily we're just gonna hope my stomach doesn't growl too much, but you know, that's on a lighter note. But on a serious note, we're okay. And thank you for watching. Again, it's Tia Mitchell, Washington correspondent with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution from the U.S. Capitol.